Echoes of Mystralia is an action RPG roguelite from developer Borealis. And no, it's not another run-of-the-mill kind of roguelike. This video covers the non-embargoed version of the game, based on quite a few hours of hands-on time with it. Up front, the big idea and selling point here is spellcrafting. So instead of simply picking from spells that are already finished, you build your own out of pieces you collect while playing. And how you arrange those pieces changes what the spell actually does. So the setup here is that Mystralia has been torn open by a rift, and that rift is eating away at the world's memory. So whole regions and people end up trapped inside memories of painful moments from the past, basically stuck reliving them. You play a young watcher sent out to explore these broken memories. You've got a master back at your home temple, a couple of companions traveling with you, and higher powers giving you direction along the way. Structurally, this is a run-based roguelite. So you head out from a hub called the Azimuth Temple, fight through rooms of enemies, pick up spell pieces and upgrades as you go, and eventually reach a boss fight. And of course then you return to the temple and spend all that you earned on permanent upgrades. The combat itself here is very fast and real time. The magic effects are genuinely high standard for this scale of indie game. There are proper trails, impact bursts, elemental particles, persistent ground effects, overlapping projectiles, and readable elemental colors. So definitely more than just simple prefab looking particles. And because your constructed spells can become fairly ridiculous, the visual spectacle here actually escalates alongside the actual build crafting. It is satisfying, which is the most important part. The regular fights work how you would expect, but the elite encounters are different. Enemies keep spawning non-stop until you kill the elite itself. So you really can't just chip away at those fights slowly. You really have to commit and burn the elite down. Now let's take a look how the spellcrafting, the meat of the game, actually works. You've got a sort of canvas where you place things called memories onto your spells. Some memories act as triggers, adding an extra effect once a condition is met, like a burst of fireballs for example, going off after a certain distance. Others work as modifiers, changing how the spell or trigger placed above them behaves, where you put a memory in relation to your base spell, and the other pieces around it changes the outcome. For example, a basic lightning set can turn into something that leaves a trail behind, chains between targets, or spirals outward, depending on how you build it. Also, if you find two identical memories, then you can combine them to level that piece up too. The relics work differently. You don't choose them from a shop, you just find them as you explore, and each one gives you a passive bonus for the rest of the run. At early access launch, you start with 16 spells and 7 magical elements to mess with. Beyond that, there are over 100 memories to build spells out of, more than 40 relics, and I think about 50 altar upgrades, along with full access to the Lotus permanent progression system. Between the runs, the resources you've earned go toward these altar and Lotus upgrades. Now the spellcrafting system isn't just for the combat. There are things called Ecomedon shrines and guardian seals located through the world, which are like puzzles that ask you to build a specific kind of spell to solve them. Clearing one gives you extra memories, or something called a Rifted Echo, and these go toward permanent upgrades and toward restoring parts of Mystralia itself. The early access launches with 3 regions to explore. This is of course a step up from the demo, but of course for a roguelite built around repeated runs, 3 regions can likely still start to feel familiar for you after enough time, especially since the developers already have a whole extra region planned for the full release. As of right now, the developers themselves describe the main adventure as fully playable. What is not in yet is the ending. The final narrative act and the full endgame have not been added. They are planning more spells, puzzles, relics, and boss fights, alongside new storylines, dialogue and quality of life changes. They did state their goal is to keep early access fairly short. There's one more thing worth knowing. If you played the original Mages of Mystralia, this is a different kind of game structurally. The original leaned more into exploration as an action adventure that also had spellcrafting built in. Echoes takes that same spellcrafting idea and puts it inside a much faster, real-time roguelite, something closer to Hades, combined with the kind of spell building you'd find in Magicraft. So if experimenting with spell pieces to find weird combinations sounds fun to you, then there's already a decent amount here to dig into, with of course much more coming.